Bill. He said, you know how many miles you travel on Amtrak? And I said, no, Angie. He said, we did retirement dinner up in Newark. Said the guys, because most of my team was coming out of New York, you know, and that back and forth. And he said, you know, he said you travel over 1,250,000 miles or 3.
Deposits of the economic impact payments appeared in some bank accounts 2 weeks ago. For those in poverty, though, bank accounts are a luxury they cannot afford. And that leaves the question, how do they get their money now? Jenna Cisneros reports.
Legal Aid Line, can I help you?
When it comes to stimulus checks and those in poverty, Regina Campbell doesn't know what to tell people to expect.
Shocking news has been released, and there are several new plans put together by Republicans and the Democrats, and they're trying to get things done for the American people. Now, there has been no shortage of Republican lawmakers bickering over Social Security in recent weeks because, as Republicans and Democrats have pointed out, fingers over which party wants to fix the program and which one wants to undermine it. Well, there's several problems with this. Because during a Senate Finance Committee hearing, the Senate Republicans accused the Treasury Secretary of lying about President Biden's willingness to work with lawmakers on Social Security reform. That followed a similar exchange between Republican Mitt Romney and Shalanda Young. Now, in a separate hearing, Romney said that she was simply wrong and not honest to suggest that current members of Congress want to cut off Social Security and Medicare. With so much hostility between the political parties, it's hard to see any hope of bipartisan Social Security reform that is. The only solution with even a whiff of bipartisan support is a proposal to raise this full retirement age for Social Security beneficiaries. That proposal announced last month is being pushed by the Cassidy senators and the Louisiana Republican and also the Senator Angus King, a Maine independent who caucuses with Democrats. The two are leading a group of legislators that aim to raise the full retirement age 70 to 67. Raising the full retirement age is seen as one of the ways to lessen the impact of the coming insolvency of Social Security's old age and survivors insurance, which finances about 20 to 25% of Social Security benefits. It is. The fund is expected to run out of money by the middle of the decade, meaning that Social Security will have to rely solely on payroll taxes for funding. That could be a big problem that people run into. Now, raising the full retirement age isn't a good idea for so many people too, because it does have bipartisan support among the registered voters, and though not necessarily raising all the way to age 70, a 2022 survey of more than 2,500 registered voters found that 75% of respondents favored gradually raising the age from 67 to 68, a move that would eliminate an estimated 14% of the funding shortfall.
Yeah, any good news welcome at this point, right? Well, the news is that folks on Social Security will not have to file a tax return in order to get their federal stimulus check. Those are expected to be mailed out here within the next week or so. And the Treasury Department officials there announcing that Americans on Social Security or disability will no longer have to file taxes.
So more financial relief is on the way for millions of low-income households. The lawmakers have actually agreed to send out stimulus aid to those being impacted by the crisis. So Americans may actually qualify for monthly checks of up to $100. And with inflation at record highs, Americans are feeling the pain of higher prices. It's especially true when it comes to filling their gas tanks. And as of June 22, the average price of a gallon of gas was more than $5. In an effort to provide some sort of financial relief, the federal government has actually come up with several short-term options for assisting the public, while also addressing the larger short-term and issue of inflation at hand. Some of these ideas include tapping into emergency oil reserves as well as federal gas tax holidays to encourage more production out of the oil companies. One of the leading proposals at the moment is the Gas Rebate Act of 2022. It has been dubbed the gas stimulus. Similar to the stimulus checks that were sent out during the crisis, the gas stimulus check will be a series of checks sent to qualifying Americans. Now folks, listen to this. Each payment would be of actually $100, with an additional $100 for households and dependents. And for each month where the price of gas was higher than $4 a gallon, the eligibility requirements are less than $75,000 for single filers and less than $150,000 for joint filers. Many individual states have taken matters into their own hands and approved similar measures for their residents. For instance, in California, gas costs are considerably more than in other states. These are the plans to give relief checks of up to $1,000 for a qualifying family. In another group in North Carolina, the state senators are proposing giving every local licensed adult a one-time $200 stimulus payment. So the Bureau of Economic Analysis also reports money is back into the pockets of American households, and $1 billion in tax relief is expected to be approved to further assist families and seniors. Eligible households can receive as much as $1,000 in a few months. Plus, there is currently a Massachusetts tax relief plan that can provide up to $440 for each child residing in the state. The long-awaited proposal includes the reform of the child tax credit and the over-the-top of a dozen proposals. The Massachusetts Senate President and House Speaker have said that the credit is also dependent for disabled adults and seniors. The tax credit for the three groups currently is $180 and will go up to $310 this year, then $440 in 2024. Lawmakers tout the bill as the most generous child and dependent care credit in the country. The proposal includes more than a dozen specific tax proposals. This is increasing the child independent tax credit as well from $180 to $330 per child. Now, lawmakers have said the increased child tax credit will be very helpful, and Utah families can receive $1,000 for their children beginning January 2024, after the state first enacted its first child tax credit. Utah was one of 3 states that created new child tax credits, and Utah offers a non-refundable child tax credit as well, which allows taxpayers to lower their tax liability to zero, but not below zero. Refundable tax credits allow taxpayers to lower the tax liability but still receive a refund. The governor has also signed a credit on March 22nd to actually give people money. Utah people will start receiving $1,000 per dependent. Utah residents can receive the money through their income tax credit, a different program that the governor expanded. Even senior citizens living in St. Louis County have a tax freeze on their property taxes starting next year. Council city members actually voted to approve the freeze this evening, and with certain conditions attached to the bill. The council city members said that a meeting would actually help people a lot, and some of those compromises included $500,000 cap, raising the age of eligible seniors to 67, and adding a sunset clause to the bill, meaning the council can decide to change the bill at any point. But not everyone agrees with the passing of the bill. Councilwomen have actually brought up a concern during the meeting, and that's how the bill will affect schools and first responders. Also, a bipartisan group of state lawmakers are launching an effort to freeze those taxes for older Ohio people. It's called a 70 under 70 plan. It would freeze the property tax at the current levels for people more than 70 years old and incomes less than $70,000. And while that doesn't translate to a 30 to 40% increase in property taxes, some people are going to see significant increases in their bills. So hopefully people can get the stimulus they need.
The number of diverse staffers has increased, reaching the highest level since we launched our survey, and almost certainly the highest level ever. Certainly the highest level in our conference's history. Our survey also shows that more African Americans work for Senate Democratic offices than ever, and in fact that's also true for Latinos, Middle Eastern and North African